Let me show you how you, yes, even you, can help advance mental health research. I'm Bai, although some of you may also know me as Patlapa, and I'm a neuroscience PhD student studying PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder at Emory University with the Grady Trauma Project. And before I start this video, I also want to give a trigger warning. I'm going to be talking about suicide and suicidal ideation, so trigger warning. As someone living with PTSD, doing research in PTSD has really given me purpose. Having that purpose is really important to me because, as sad as it is, the truth is that suicidal ideation and attempts are common with PTSD, and I myself also struggle with those issues. I'm about to show you a clip of how it can feel to be in this position that I am, but also why it's so important for me to continue doing this work.
Honestly, it's a blessing that I get to be doing PTSD research and researching new treatment options for PTSD because I really don't want to live feeling like this, and I just really don't want to be like this. But that's why it's so important for me to do the work that I do so that people don't have to feel this way.
So yeah, that is the reality and that is my truth. But that just goes to show how important it is for people who are struggling with mental health illnesses to feel like they have a reason to keep going. And for me, when I have those really dark moments when I just quite frankly don't want to exist, really holding on to like the thought of like, okay, I know why I'm feeling this way, but I also know that there's a lot of other people out there who's feeling the same thing as me, and I can help them by being in this field. That gives me a reason to keep on going. Now, I know not everyone is lucky like me to be able to be in this type of position and do work that's directly related to my personal mental health struggles. But I'm here to show you how you, yes, even you, anyone, can help advance mental health research. And how is that exactly? By volunteering to be a research participant in these clinical trials. Even if you don't have any conditions, healthy subjects are also very valuable. But I also know that there are a lot of barriers to actually entering a clinical trial. Like there can be things like finding a research study, especially one that you feel like you can trust, because I can totally understand, especially for Black and female populations, how they might not feel comfortable to partake in research given the cruel history of how these populations have been treated by researchers in the past.
I do want to take a moment to mention that research at credible universities and that are funded by the government go through really intensive review processes and oversight by the Institutional Review Board, or IRB. So things are really different from how they used to be.
At the end of the day, researchers are people, and for lack of a better term, there's always going to be good and bad people. And so I also want to walk you through how you can identify whether the clinical trial that you want to be part of is being run by a good researcher who actually cares about the population they study. So I know that the first major barrier is like finding a research study. So how can you actually find one? So the first step, whatever city or state you're located in, I would go on Google and type in whatever university is around my area, followed by clinical trials. For example, I live in Atlanta, so I know there's Emory University, so maybe I'll go search Emory University clinical trials. Oftentimes, universities will have a lot of information and resources on the clinical trials that are ongoing. So here, Emory does have a page where they provide you resources to find clinical trials. So first, I have like an Emory specific database. It's under construction right now, so I'm not going to click on it. But they also have this research match project, which allows you to be entered in a database to be contacted as a prospective participant for future studies. So if you go to the website, it's as easy as going to the volunteers, clicking join, and then going through this whole process to later on be contacted if you are eligible for the study. Another easy way that's also listed on this website is to go to clinicaltrials.gov. And then clinicaltrials.gov is a database for all existing clinical trials, whether they're already done recruiting or are actively recruiting or have not started recruitment yet. So for example, maybe I want to find a study that's studying PTSD. I put that in there, and I also am in Atlanta. So I will also put Atlanta there. And I want to find studies that are still recruiting. So I'm gonna click that, and then I will search. And then here I can see a lot of different studies. And maybe, for example, maybe I am interested in the study on PTSD screening in pregnant Black women. Obviously, I don't meet the criteria, but just as an example. When you go to this page, you're going to be able to see all the information about the study, a brief overview, and also, and more importantly, who is actually running these studies. Here I see that one of the study contacts is Dr. Abigail Powers-Lott. And often when you see just one name for a study contact and they have PhD, they're most likely the PI or principal investigator, and it's pretty much just code word for boss or head of the lab in a research setting. And maybe I'm like, okay, I don't really know who this person is, and I want to do my research on them. And so I go and search Dr. Abigail Lott's name followed by Emory University in Google, and I'll click on the first link that comes up, which is her profile on the Emory University School of Medicine's website. And here I can read about Dr. Lott's training and background. Like for example, here I can see that she's done a lot of research on interpersonal trauma, traumatized populations, and also appears to work with mothers as well as minoritized populations, including Black adults. And some of you may be thinking, why are they studying Black people? Or is it sus? And again, that concern is very valid because you don't know if they're specifically recruiting Black people because they want to perform unethical or inhumane experiments on them, or if they actually care to study neurobiology. Minoritized populations have been the most underserved and understudied in research. But I think now there's like more of a push for scientists to include these historically excluded populations because the neurobiology can be very different. And that can also be directly related to the impacts of racism and discrimination. But anyways, imagine if I don't know if I can trust these people. What would I do next? I can continue to stay on this site and go down and see the different types of studies that they've been involved with, but also look at the types of people they have collaborated with. So I can go to one of Dr. Powers' published studies and see on the list of authors who else she's worked with and what type of things they care about. So for example, here maybe I want to search, I actually don't know how to pronounce her last name, Dr. Brianna Woods-Yeager. I search her up and I see that Dr. Brianna Woods-Yeager is not just a researcher, but she also does other community engagement things. Dr. Brianna Woods-Yeager also cares about doing work to help people reach their goals and improve their well-being, which is like, this is someone that cares about people. But of course, not every researcher is going to have this type of presence. So what's also another step that I can take to really check all my bases of? So I know that
Dr. Powers is part of the
Grady Trauma Project. So now I'm going to go look on the Grady Trauma Project's website. And here I can read more about who the team is, what they do. And when I scroll down, I can see that GTP is not just focused on research and mentorship, but also community engagement. And they also have this advocacy, research, and dissemination work group. So maybe I want to learn more about what the hell that means. So I click on it. And here I see that this work group is an effort to find avenues for non-academic dissemination of research findings and find ways to advocate for our patient population. That immediate green flag. You want to know that the clinical trials or research studies that you're enrolled in is being run by people who actually care about you and the populations that you belong to. There's also another website you can utilize if you want to see all the different research projects that a particular researcher has been involved in or awarded funding. So if I go to this website, you just search in Google NIH Reporter or reporter.nih.gov. And here you can see that you can pretty much look at all the active projects that are currently or have previously been funded by the NIH. So here, say I want to see what Dr. Lott has been part of. And I can now see all the different projects that she's been awarded or been part of. And seeing this, it makes me feel better because it's like, okay, like this is not something out of the blue or sus for her to study. She's been trained to study these topics, but most importantly, she has a track record of government funding to support her work.
I do want to give a word of caution here that I would not vibe check a researcher solely based on their funded grant track record, because this relies on research seniority or how long you've been doing the research for. So early career researchers may only have one or even no grants listed.
So those are just some of the ways that I wanted to share with you as a researcher on how you can help advance mental health research by participating as a research participant while also looking out for yourself and protecting yourself. I hope this video was helpful. I feel like it was very important for me personally to share these tools that maybe researchers are familiar with because of their training, but not so much someone in the public, but it's actually still really useful for someone in the public. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this type of content, please remember to like and subscribe to my channel because I will be doing more of these videos because I feel very strongly about advocating for the patient population and making scientific research more accessible and engaging. Bye for now. You can find me on all social medias at bratbabybai, and if you want to also do your research on me as a researcher, feel free to search me up under Pat La Passe Pom. Thank you.